Welcome to Pop and Politics, your guide to art and culture in Turkey. I'm your host, Kenan Besat Sharp. Each week on the show, we host an artist, writer, director, musician, or other creative worker in Turkey. But this week, we're doing something a little bit different. After the tragic earthquake on February 6th, people in Turkey and around the world have been mobilizing to support the rescue efforts and help in humanitarian and rebuilding work. In this episode, we spoke to 4 guests in different countries about what they have been doing to help and how people in the art and culture world can contribute in moments like this. We spoke first to Ecem Lawton, a Los Angeles-based director. She is known as the director of Turkish pop star Kerem Can Durmaz's award-winning music video for Peşimde, in addition to music videos for other Turkish pop stars and the Turkish national soccer team. Since the earthquake, Ecem has been coordinating massive shipments of aid alongside the Turkish embassy in Los Angeles. She is also forming a nonprofit foundation to support women and children survivors. Ecem, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I wanted to ask you first about your first response when you heard about the earthquake and how you decided you wanted to start helping.
Yeah, so it was nighttime here in Los Angeles, and obviously we didn't know much about it, just that some buildings had collapsed and there was going to be a lot of lives lost, but there was no way we could have grasped the magnitude and the scale of the consequences of that earthquake. So as days pass by, day 1, I wake up to around 2,000 people dead. And that kind of gave me the fuel to want to do stuff about it, because Turkey is an amazing country, but at times of crisis, you see the best of people and you see the worst of people. The best of people being the solidarity of the amazing Turkish Republic, which is all the people coming together, near or far, whether you're in Turkey or whether you're abroad in any country. We have the tendency to be one at times of crisis, be one, because it's mostly lack of government organization and aid that really fuels people to do it and take it upon themselves to act instead of waiting to receive aid. So basically, what made me super emotional is me and my sister have a education consultancy company, and every year we send dozens of girls to college in Turkey. So we pay for their tuitions. And one of the girls that we pay the tuitions for, Pınar, we couldn't reach her for days. She was in one of the affected areas, and when we could reach her, we realized that she was escaped her broken home. Her home completely collapsed. She was taken and she survived, and then she was facing the dire winter conditions, and she was literally texting us that I'm about to freeze, we're about to die from frostbite. And that really just made me have this horrible response, bodily, emotional, physical. I couldn't stop crying, and I basically went on my social media and being like, we need to help these people. People are freezing. The earthquake is just the beginning of months and months of catastrophe and rebuilding and solidarity. Like, this is just the beginning. Unfortunately, this is the tip of the iceberg. People are still under the rubble day 6. So this is just the beginning. And we started to think about long-term projects, how we can help these people, because right now the world's attention, Turkey's attention, is in the immediate response. What can we do right now to help people from freezing, from being starving, all these conditions? But come 2 weeks, I don't think the attention is going to be that much around the victims, because it's not going to be trending anymore. So we're trying to come up with long-term ways to help these people. And because me and my sister are really passionate about women's health, children and women in Turkey, we tried to look for a foundation in Turkey that, we could work with to make sure the baby food we're sending from America reaches the right people at the right time. And we realized there's not a proper foundation for this. So we decided to start one. We're collaborating with the Needs Map in Turkey to try to get as much baby food and female hygiene products, diapers, all the stuff that's urgently needed out there. So that's one project, but keep asking because I'm
Yeah, I'm curious what things have been like on the ground. So I know you're in Los Angeles and you've been
Yes.
collecting donations from people and you've been, I think, working with the embassy. I mean, what has the process been
Yeah.
like on the ground for you?
So basically, day one, we heard that the Turkish consulate here in LA and all around America, were doing these donation drives, calling people to help with buying the supplies in need, packing them, and prepping them. We hear that there's Turkish Airlines flights every morning that take off with all the supplies we were gathered. So that gives us a immediate deadline. We're like, what's the maximum amount of urgently needed supplies we can get in every day? So for the past 6 days, we've been at the private residency of the consulate in LA, which he has this like big garden. So we've been receiving hundreds of people who want to come and volunteer to pack these supplies, as well as buying supplies. So everyone I know, me and myself included, started these fundraisings to buy supplies. And there's two great organizations in Turkey, Ahbap, started by Haluk Levent, which we trust wholeheartedly that we donate to. And then Babala is another amazing one that works with volunteers and the people in need on the ground. So we're just directing all our energy and finances to these organizations, as well as fundraising ourselves to buy the supplies here, because there's supplies that can't be found in Turkey that exist here in America on Amazon. So we started, obviously, the first urgency is like donating clothes, but the Turkish people are begging us to stop with the clothes donations and start with the most urgent stuff, like the winter tents, sleeping bags with thermal insoles, pocket warmers, hand warmers, portable warmers, and baby food, baby diapers, female hygiene products. So these have been, we get updated lists from the consulate working with the people on the ground in Turkey. So we are, getting up-to-date information about what's needed, and we're changing our list of needs every day. And obviously it's been very emotional, because I know maybe 5 Turks in LA, and now I became like family with hundreds of others, dozens of others, and not just Turks, but all my friends, American friends, international friends who have been affected by this tragedy, who have been donating funds. And I made an Amazon shopping list, which basically collapsed because of so many people trying to send. So you can send directly to our warehouse in Long Beach. The operation grew bigger and bigger each day. We couldn't fit in the council's residency after 2 days. And then we collaborated with a Turkish global logistics firm, Barsan, in Long Beach. It's this huge warehouse. So the operation keeps getting bigger and bigger. And obviously, we're working with the real people in Turkey, and they are saying maybe it is time to slow down on some of the less urgent supplies and really think long term. Like I said, yeah.
And have you had any challenges through this process, or things that are obstacles or difficulties?
The really real tragedy is the Turkish government, unfortunately, seems to be the biggest obstacle here. Like, we're trying to help the enemy here. I don't want to get too political, but I can't help but get too political. 2 issues that I've been working on: one, internet and phone service in Turkey. It's been significantly lessened in the areas in need. And this has been the biggest challenge, because people under the rubble trying to say that they are alive, but there's no connection. Or when there is a connection, it's day 3 and they can't make a sound. So all these teams literally are hovering over, trying to listen to people. They can't hear, but these people are saying, it's day 3, I'm out of water, I can't make a sound. So internet and phone communication have been huge. And when I saw on Twitter that Elon Musk wanted to send Starlink to Turkey day 1 of the earthquake, which would give all access to internet to all of Turkey in affected areas, and the Turkish government rejected that, saying there will be leak of information, this and that, I just could not believe it. I graduated from Columbia University. My sister graduated from Princeton. So we have a lot of people working at Starlink, SpaceX. So we immediately reached out to those people, and we got to the top, the CEOs, Tesla, Starlink, SpaceX, and we were able to get in these amazing email chains like immediately, and they all said we really want to help, but we can't do anything illegal. So we've been trying to find like middle ground. We're working with other telecommunication organizations, but it's just like really sad because it really is down to that one man's approval or rejection of saving dozens of more people, dozens of thousands of more people. And that's one. The second one is we are working with the Needs Map in Turkey, which is an organization that determines on a map of Turkey the most needed things in the most needed areas. And we know that there's a dire need of baby food, baby diapers, baby diaper cream, because of the lack of diapers. They use the same diaper over and over again for the same baby, which is causing so many other complications for the baby's skin. So we have been in touch with Bobby. We've been in touch with Baby to Baby, these huge organizations in America. And we actually got the green light yesterday saying, okay, we're going to literally donate millions of dollars and products, but these baby foods are FDA approved. It's the Food and Drug Association approval that is not valid in Turkey. So we do need a special confirmation, validation from the Turkish government to let us send these baby foods. And again, we hit a wall where they're saying there's no need for that. So it's like Turkish people trying to help Turkish people however they can, but we're seeing a time and again after catastrophe, every time we have a crisis in Turkey, the lack of organization, the lack of the reluctance to help, the big obstacles that are put in our way. It's a real tragedy because this could have been avoided. Yes, 7.7 is a horrible magnitude, no denying of that. But did that mean that 190,000 people should have been waiting under the rubble? Did that mean that day 3, Hatay, Antioch, like our most sacred ancient city, did not get one official team on the ground? Day 4, no. So this is what's killing us. It's not us dying only, but it's like the lack of organization. And we're seeing obviously the supplies donated being collected into mountains around Turkey, like not reaching the real villages because the roads, they collapse. There's no way of going from like the main truck donation points to the people in need in the villages. That being said, like that's when the Turkish people came in with their motorbikes, with their off-road vehicles, getting these things from the collection points to the villages. So it is a great effort. And I really, really, really wish the government could be working with us on this and not against us at so many different areas.
Definitely. And last of all, you were mentioning how the long term is really important once the disaster is out of the public consciousness. And you have some ideas for what can be done long term. Do you have any things you want to share about that or advice for other
Yes.
people moving forward?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of kids and babies that are orphans right now. What we saw from the big earthquake back in 99, 25 years ago, these kids disappear. There's so much crime around these kids without parents left. So there's a dire need for organizations to really take care of these kids. There's a dire need for a children's hospital. So we are right now working with the Needs Map, and we determined that for $2.5 million, we can build a hospital, we can build rehabilitation centers for women and kids. So my sister, Nazlı Ofringa, who is a health journalist and a health expert in maternal health and female and children health, started a fundraiser. We're collaborating with the Needs Map, and with the money raised, we are building a kids hospital in Turkey, and we are gonna try to do our absolute best to come up with ways to help these kids and these women and all of Turkey long term. Look, this happened 6 days ago. It's a work in progress. I don't know what the format is gonna reach, but I think as Turks living abroad with connections, with the education, with the, with the help that we can give more than just like carrying stuff in these warehouses, I think we should all come up with collaborative efforts. We should collaborate with big international companies, big international organizations to really rebuild our country, because I'm really saddened to say that 10% of the country is paper. It's one dimensional. it's all collapsed. And people are saying whole city smell like, unfortunately, dead people. So there's a lot of work to be done, short term and long term. So I'm just calling everyone that's watching this and listening to this just to have that humanitarian urgency in themselves and find it in themselves to do something about it, big or small, because it's time to unite. You see all these countries, people fleeing, like war in Ukraine to help Turkish people get out of the rubble. Like, we're seeing an amazing international aid, and I am really, really like proud of all the efforts that all the countries are doing. And I feel like this is more a Turkish government problem than like, we don't get any world help problem, because we see the things that are happening to the aid that comes. They're being stopped, they're not being distributed well. So it's like, we really need to rebuild, and time again we see that it can only be done through the people, not the government. So this is a people's cause.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts and your experience with us. I really appreciate all the work
Thank you
you've
so much
done.
for having me. Thank you.
We spoke next to American musician Jeff Matz, a multi-instrumentalist and Grammy Award-winning bassist, known best for his work with the heavy metal band Higher on Fire. Jeff has been selling instruments, records, and memorabilia from his bands to raise money and international awareness about the earthquake. Jeff, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So I wanted to ask you first, your reaction when you heard about the earthquake, and I know you also have a connection with Turkey, and I wanted to ask what that was.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a huge fan of Turkish folk music and Anatolian rock for many years. And in recent years, I've made a lot of really good friends in Turkey. And, I started studying bağlama online formally about 3 years ago with some teachers in Turkey. And so, yeah, I've just always felt a really strong connection, with the music. And, like I said, over the years, I've just made a lot of really great friends there. Traveled to Istanbul for the first time last year, and that was a really amazing experience for me.
And then I know you wanted to help when you heard about everything that happened, and you've been doing a campaign of selling different things. Can you tell me about what you've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard about the earthquake, I was obviously, very concerned about my friends' well-being. So, I was writing people over there and asking how things are going. And yeah, just seeing everybody's, social media feeds and just seeing the level of destruction and suffering. It was really intense for me. So, just trying to figure out ways that I could help, so I wrote a few of my friends in Turkey asking about which aid organizations were good ones to donate to. Made some donations and, was just thinking about, what can I do to raise more money? So just kind of taking a look at all of my possessions and thinking, got a lot of things that I could live without that could probably, really help out some folks in need. So yeah, I decided to just start kind of, liquidating some things that I had, musical instruments, records, memorabilia from my band, things of that nature. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was like, okay, how do I go about this? So I just made a little post on my Instagram account and, decided to try selling some things using an auction format. And so far that's seemed to be working out really well. People have been very generous with their bids, and yeah, it's so far it's been going well.
Great, yeah. And I know it meant a lot to a lot of us here to see that happening, to see people doing whatever they could, using whatever means they have to try to help. A lot of people are really interested in Turkish music, whether it's, Anatolian rock or folk music or other things, but it's really nice to see people who both care about the music and care about the people. What do you think the artists can do in moments like this? Do you think it's important to try to help when people can?
Absolutely. I think one of the best things that people can do is just try to raise awareness of the situation, because I'm not sure that a lot of folks really realize how bad it is and how dire the situation is. So just by just talking about it is a really good thing. Obviously artists using their social media accounts to just to reach people, I think is a really good option. Posting links to aid groups where people can donate. And I'd encourage anybody that has some extra gear laying around, or band memorabilia, things like that. Hey, if you can stand to part with some things, it could be of great help to a lot of people.
Definitely. Every little bit helps right now. It's an urgent situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks so much, Jeff. I really appreciate you coming on the show and telling us about what you've been doing.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Our next guests are two London-based music producers and DJs, Zog Erlat and Ceylan Göksel. They are both part of the project My Analog Journal, through which they have organized a series of benefit record sales for survivors of the earthquakes.
Zach and Ceylan, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure.
So I wanted to talk to you guys because you organized a really cool charity record sale for the victims of the earthquake. And I wanted to ask, both of you are from Turkey and live in London. I want to ask you about your reaction when you first heard about the earthquake.
Right. So it was we actually received this BBC notifications, as we always do when something happens, and we woke up with it. And I remember receiving a message from Ceylan, like literally a few seconds either later or before that, she told me that, did you see it? So yeah, it was a horrible event to wake up to, and then things got worse every day, as you also know. And I think it was either the second day or the third day, we obviously felt the urge to, like, we need to do something. And before we created this fundraiser live stream for something else, and it didn't really feel right to do the same in terms of like playing music, do the live stream and ask for people to support the donation, because it's too fresh and still ongoing. Like the rescue operations are still ongoing, so it didn't really feel right to make a live stream and play music. But at the same time, it didn't feel right not to do anything. So we were discussing like, what can we do? And then I had this idea, maybe we can sell our records, because like every collector, every DJ, when they start collecting, they buy, but then when the time changes, there are some records that just like collects dust. And it was actually a perfect occasion to maybe separate some records and create maybe an event and ask people to come. And as a community, all the DJs around us, there were a lot of people, by the way, who joined. They don't even have a record player, but they were there, so it really made sense to create this day in our studio and ask people to come and basically show their support. And it was really incredible. Yes, it was yesterday, and we were hoping like maybe 10-20 people will show up, and man, like we had, I don't know, we had maybe more than 50 people showed up, and we managed to gather more than £1,500, which was amazing. I mean, not just people showed up, but also our friends through social media, our label friends in the UK, they showed an incredible amount of support. Like I collected, I God knows how many records, but we gathered a lot from people. They were just like, I kept receiving messages. Oh, I want to donate records. I want to donate records. And just like that, literally, it took a day. It took a day to gather all those records from all of our friends in our circle. And yeah, it was just incredible, really. I mean, just now explaining it makes me a bit teary. And yeah, Ceylan can take over.
Well, it was
Try-
the same for me. I woke up because, I mean, Zag and Maddie and Marge family is my family in London. I saw a message from my Japanese super close friend because she was awake earlier than me, and she's like, have you seen the news? And like, don't freak out, but there's been an earthquake. So I woke up to that, texted Zag, and then it slowly became like we slowly got to understand how big it is and how damaging it was. And then like the shock waves just kept coming, you know. We all experienced about the same anger. Like, we were upset, we were sad, we were hopeless. So everything just bottled up, and like it was just a big heavy emotional situation that we were in. Also, being away and life just continuing as it is, it was really damaging for us. Like, we couldn't stand being outside, we couldn't stand like looking at social media, because like it's Grammys and then it's like ruins, and then it's the Brits coming up, and then it's the ruins everywhere, rubble and like numbers flying. So it was quite traumatic to be far further from the area too. And then we instantly, after the shock slightly started wearing off, and like we decided that we needed to do something, we spent a couple of days together just to try to like come up with ideas and calm down a little bit, really, because the ongoing search was really, really hard to just watch from abroad. And we both did like, I remember one day we were together on Tuesday, I think, with Zag, and then we both decided to go home, and then we both ended up in packing places. So I went to a town hall and he was in his corner shop, because they're all from the area, and then we just started packing like loads of boxes, and we didn't even know where they're going to reach. So it was just a collective feeling that we shared with those of people feeling the same way. And then we then decided to do something about it. And I personally felt like we didn't need to provide anything for people to notice it and for people to donate something, because it's huge. Like, it made international news. It's everywhere, really. I'm sure everyone like kind of realized the biased media approach to the whole issue, but we just wanted it to be out there. Like, we just didn't want it to get like just be buried in loads of other released news, or like music competition, Grammys, whatever, live concert releases news. So we wanted the attention of the music industry, which is still hard to get, to be fair, globally speaking. And then we decided to do this. Our friends were helpful in giving us the idea too. They're like, we have these records, and Zag had the idea. So we gathered everything, and I think now that we're done with the first one, we're going to have a second one next weekend, because we've been approached by so many labels. Maybe they're not shouting out online, maybe they're not sharing links, but they're like saying, we care and we want to donate loads of records, like they're fresh records that you can buy for like 30-50 pounds, box sets and everything. So we're getting loads of shipments in this week. So there's going to be another one on Sunday, and Sunday's date is, I think, the 19th. Well, my unlocked journal stands in between. Like, it's kind of a hybrid platform that lives both in the YouTube and like influencer and content providing side of things, and the music industry, like the super analog side of it, with the physical sales. So I think it was a nice place to put ourselves out there. Also, we, like Zag said, we didn't want to exchange it by providing music when everything's silent and people are trying to hear each other. So it just didn't feel right. And I don't think we could listen to music all week. So it was really tough, and we didn't want to align this cause with music, or like us providing entertainment. It's hard to come up with an idea into entertainment business, but we have a lot of reach, so we said, why not?
Yeah, and it's great that the response has been so good, that people have come out, because I know a lot of people, draw on Turkish music. There's been this whole interest in Turkish psychedelia and things from the 60s and 70s. But when things like this happen, it's really nice to see people actually care about the people who live in the region rather than just drawing on the music of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like now. Like, and since the first one happened, people want to be a part of it more and more. So every single pound counts. So we're just gonna keep on doing as long as we keep receiving the records, is what we're thinking now. Because this is an ongoing process, and I think Zag's gonna explain more. But we chose Up because we wanted a non-governmental NGO. And I think that was the one to go to be fair. And now the next one, we're gonna add a Syrian link to it too. We're looking at which ones to focus on right now, as of today. So yeah, let's see how it goes, and we're just gonna keep donating and like getting people to donate, because when they're physically involved in something, when they're not directly in touch with the zone or area or the country, I think they just want a physical interaction to feel better. So donating something physical that belonged to them, that is worth something, was good for our friends too, because they felt really relevant and they felt like they contributed a lot. So I mean, if it goes from if it goes from like getting people involved via like taking their assets, we're here to do that. So,
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And Zag, do you want to add anything about why you chose the charity Up versus different ones?
Right. I mean, we really did our research, because there are a lot of charities getting met. Obviously, we wanted to pick something that, well, I mean, as much as you can know, that we should know that it just goes directly to there, and it should be something to the people who are like physically being there, and speaking with our family and friends, and Up definitely standed out, because obviously we kind of know the people who are doing it, and we see it. They kept sharing like, this is what we're doing today, this is what we're going to do tomorrow. So everything was just like there, and I don't know, we felt the trust. And it wasn't just my decision, it wasn't just Ceylan's decision, it was our friends and family, and we kind of gathered some information, and we thought Up is the one that we should choose, and so that's the outcome. So we chose Up in the end.
Definitely, yeah. Well, thanks so much to you both. I know for all of us here in Turkey, it's really inspiring to see people elsewhere doing everything they can. And for me, you know, being interested in the music industry, it's really great to see creative solutions like you guys have come up with. So thanks so much for telling me about this. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, definitely, it was definitely a team effort. It wasn't like it wasn't just like my journal made this. It was like a bunch of people. Like we received maybe 15 people / label contributed to this, but more than double still messaging me today. I want to do the same. I can post.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely a community, and I'm so happy and rather speechless to show my appreciation towards the whole thing, really.
Because we were feeling a bit lonely in this too. Like I said, like life goes on and people just go on with their lives like nothing happened. And then when our friends actually physically started to care and realized how big it was, they stood out and they brought their best records maybe. And then it triggered the whole community, and then the labels wanted to chip in. So it is, I feel like it's going to gradually grow, and even one more person makes a difference for us. And I know that this is going to be an ongoing process. It's not going to end in the next 2 weeks or something. This is a long haul situation that we're going to all navigate together. So whatever we can add is whatever we can add, really.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so much again. Thanks for telling me about what you've been working on.
Thank you for
I appreciate
having
it.
us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Our last guest is Greek journalist Evangelos Areteos, who has been monitoring responses to the earthquake and Greek public opinion. And he describes for us how cartoonists in Greece are changing the conversation about Greek-Turkish relations since the earthquake.
Evangelos, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming.
Well, thank you very much, and get me so soon to all of you in Turkey.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I wanted to ask you first your reaction when you heard about the earthquake, what you thought and felt at that moment.
Well, when I started receiving the news, I felt really devastated. And the more Monday was going on, the more I felt very, very sad, very devastated to see all these people suffering and dying and be in this desperate situation. So I think that the first reaction was emotional and still is almost 5 days after. I feel this. I feel this pain, even though I'm not there. I feel this pain, and I really very very saddening disaster.
Yeah, definitely. And what has the response been like in Greece? What has public opinion been like, or people's feeling about it?
Well, what we saw immediately since the first hours on Monday, the response was very emotional also, a big wave of compassion. We saw it in the social media immediately. We saw it in the official statements from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, politicians, the Prime Minister, who even tweeted in Turkish. And with all the people I've been talking in Greece, everybody felt immediately this is not because of fear that this earthquake or an earthquake can also strike Greece and everything. It was much more this deeply human closeness of people feeling very, very sad about neighbors and people who are close by who are in this deep suffering. So and still is this. I think the emotions are the most dominant dynamic now in Greece when it comes to Turkey. Very from different political points of view, for political backgrounds. There was a huge, and still is, wave of support and empathy, actually.
Definitely. And interestingly, just like happened in 1999, I think Greece pretty quickly sent a team of rescuers to come. Can you tell me about that?
Well, actually, Greece sent the first team the first 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And then they sent one more one day later, and it is very characteristic of the atmosphere that immediately many reportages and interviews from this team were published in the Greek media, and all of them were dealing with the human point of view, the rescuing, the feelings, the emotions, the pain shared, the hope shared by both Turkish and Greek rescuers when they work. So it was and still is a very human centered journalism and a very much human centered response. We had also this morning the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Greek Minister of Foreign Affairs, who went to Turkey, and we saw pictures and videos hugging his counterpart, Mr. Çavuşoğlu. We have to remind here that the last long period, those two politicians and other politicians in both sides of the Aegean have been exchanging heavy words. There was a big animosity, big tension. But all this is gone. I mean, nobody talks about this. No one remembers all this. The reaction from politicians to the public opinion were and still are very, very compassionate.
Absolutely. And then, interestingly, there were two cartoons in Greek media that were both talked about here. One is by the cartoonist Sulup, who had this interesting thing saying, friends can come at daytime too. And then another one was saying, we are all Turks. Can you tell me about those two and what they mean?
Well, the first one it makes a direct reference to what President Erdogan has been saying the last period many times. that Turks can come one night suddenly, meaning sort of invasion, and this had created a very deep emotion in Greece. It was felt like a very direct threat to Greece, and this cartoon manages to reappropriate it and to turn it into something positive. It is something between compassion and empathy, but also a sort of positive pride that we managed to get over these threats, and we managed to immediately to respond and to be there when Turkish people needed us. And I think that many Greeks feel a sort of, again, positive pride, nothing to do with nationalism or anything like that. It's just this feeling that, after all, we are humans, and when a human disaster comes, we are there, despite all the previous threats and everything. So, and this cartoon, this Loops cartoon, reflects a lot this psychology in the Greek public opinion when it comes to this turning, radical turning of these emotions from fear and anger against Turkey and against its president, mainly because he was the one, making these statements, and to something very human and very compassionate. And I think that this cartoon really managed to reflect this in a very, very strong way. We also have to see that in the cartoon, the face of the Greek helping the Turkish bleeding hand is a very nice face, very smiling face, very compassionate face. So there is no trace of sort of revanchism of like we are better than you, that you were threatening us and now we are helping us. This is not the emotion. The real emotion in the Greek public opinion is that we are humans and we forget everything, and we are there. And we see also that we have, of course, the teams working in Turkey, but we have a huge mobilization in Greece. We've been seeing in the Greek media and Greek social media a lot of people queuing in different places in Greece to bring help to Turks. And we also, as Greek citizens, we have been recipients of many messages, very, very warm messages from Turks in Facebook, Twitter, even Turks we don't know. Even me, for example, I have been receiving, after I posted some condolences, on Facebook, many Turks, even people that I'm not friends with in Facebook, that they really reacted very, very warmly and very heartedly to this Greek support. Now, when it comes to the other cartoon, that we are all Turks, this is very important. First of all, because it's one of the major Greek newspapers, Kathimerini, and this is a very simple, graphically speaking, very simple cartoon. Just somebody tagging, saying we are all Turks, and believe me, this for Greeks to say this is big. This is very big because, again, I will repeat it, we shouldn't forget that the last almost year, at least 6 months, the relationships have been very, very tense, and the feeling in Greece was that Turkey was threatening Greece every single day. So in I think it was 24 hours after the earthquake, having the major Greek newspaper and one of the most known and respected cartoonists in Greece writing "We are all Turks." This is big. This is really big for Greeks.
Definitely. And last of all, I know that you'd like to be here if you could right now, both reporting on the ground and also, supporting your friends and showing solidarity. but you can't be in Turkey at the moment. Can you tell me briefly what happened and why you can't be here?
Yes, unfortunately, the 25th of August last year in summer, I was coming to Turkey, as I was coming every month since years, and I was briefly detained and then expelled for reasons of public order. I don't know exactly what and why. But the thing is that I cannot come to Turkey anymore, and the truth is that I've been feeling this being in exile since August, but this last week it has been very difficult also for me personally, first of all, because I really want to be there to my friends, to the people in Turkey. Most of the cities that were hurt have been there. So I feel like I'm not in my place outside Turkey, and of course professionally, because covering Turkey is my main journalistic duty. Well, I hope that one day, sooner the sooner the better, I will be able to come back. But the truth is that I really feel like being in a double exile now, especially after the earthquakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope it gets solved soon and you're able to come back and we can all see you again. Evangelos, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts and for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much, and again, geçmiş olsun.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Pop and Politics. We'll see you soon with more news about art and culture in Turkey.